One of the things that Disney is praised for is how it delivers a message in its movies. A lot of the time, these themes are hidden behind the plot, glitz, and glamour. But when you know what the movie's about, it really enhances your appreciation for the story. Here are our 10 hidden meanings in Disney films. Finding Nemo, giving your child freedom. Finding Dory was released this year, and while it delivered on a fun little adventure film with a heart, it didn't have anywhere near the emotional depth as the original. Finding Nemo was more than a quest. It was an emotional journey of self-discovery that Marlin and Nemo go on, and how that affects their relationship as father and son. The film has three fathers: the overprotective Marlin who shelters Nemo, Gil, the William Dafoe fish that gives Nemo too much freedom, and Crush. When Crush's baby is in trouble, Marlin immediately panics, but Crush gives the kid a chance to get back in himself, and he does. We all know that Crush would rescue his son if need be. On the other hand, Gil expects Nemo to be able to do everything himself and forgets how young Nemo actually is, at least until the end. In the meantime, Nemo truly gets to learn what he's capable of when not being restricted by his father, and eventually the two come to a mutual understanding as father and son. Alice in Wonderland is a lot of math. While the world of Wonderland is pretty much meaningless by design, many believe that Lewis Carroll wrote the book as a satire of modern mathematics? What? Around the time of writing, there was a new way of thinking, and far more advanced mathematics, using abstract equations such as algebra to solve more complex equations. While it makes sense today, at the time the idea was completely ludicrous, and Carroll, being a mathematician himself and an old school one at that, wrote Wonderland as a satire mocking the idea of imaginary mathematics. All of the characters Alice meets are just as crazy to the audience as the idea of all this new math is to Lewis. Who would have guessed it? This would mean that the Disney film too, whether they knew it or not, is also a satire of that same mathematics. Zootopia, dealing with racism. Nick Wilde is a pretty interesting character. Because society views Fox as nothing but sly scoundrels, he sees no reason not to just roll with it. Becoming a con man, Wilde is a character in a vicious circle of crime before the events of the film. It creates a world that reflects our own, but shows that it's up to the individuals to escape the stereotypes of their race and to become more than a statistic. It also talks about public perception and the impact that prejudice can have on people's choices. While Zootopia itself was accused of being racist, it does a great job of showing a balanced view of prejudice, racism, and sexism in the workplace. Beauty and the Beast, making relationships work. We all know that Beauty and the Beast is about the beauty inside and loving someone for their character and not just their appearance. But there's more to it than just that. While many have accused this movie of glorifying what is essentially Stockholm Syndrome, these people clearly did not watch the movie. Belle doesn't have Stockholm Syndrome because she only likes the Beast after he stops being an asshole. The movie is really about the Belle and the Beast learning to make the relationship work, with the Beast learning to respect her and putting his anger to one side, and Belle learning that there's more to him beyond his monstrous appearance. This is a pretty nuanced take on relationships that's very mature by adult standards, let alone something you see in a family film. If only more romance movies understood that there was more to relationships than beauty and hijinks. A Bug's Life, the power of the little people. Aside from being yet another remake of Seven Samurai, A Bug's Life also has a pretty strong political message. Just like the movie, it's based on fighting oppression. Hopper and his gang keep the ants beaten up and in line to keep the grasshoppers' way of life. It just takes one ant to stand up to them and start a revolution to overthrow the oppressors. The movie itself isn't completely subtle in its political opinions, seeing as Hopper more or less flat out says the film's message in a rant to the gang. Nevertheless, it's still cool to see a family film with such a strong political message, and one that's also relevant. The Bug's Life uses the colony of ants because they are the workers, and combine the fable of the ant and the grasshopper with Seven Samurai to make a triumphant movie about the oppressed reclaiming their freedom. The Incredibles, choices that make you human. In a world filled with superpowers, The Incredibles tell a very human story. The movie is fundamentally about the choices that we make and how it reflects upon us as people. Despite having superpowers, the main character are heroes because of what they do. While Syndrome wants to give everyone superpowers to remove the idea of a superhero, he fails to realize that heroes will exist regardless. This is because The Incredibles are heroes because of what they do, not because of what they can do. A character like Edna doesn't have any apparent superpowers, but still she uses her genius to create suits that enable superheroes to help people. This is in contrast to Syndrome himself, who, despite his similar genius, chooses to do wrong to try to get revenge. The Incredibles is a very dark kids film that tackles a lot of moral issues, even talking about suicide. While some were uncomfortable with it, you have to admire Disney and Pixar's commitment to giving kids important life lessons while still entertaining. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, Accepting Your Roots. The most adult film on this list, Pirates of the Caribbean, is a great swashbuckling action film. It's not exactly deep. It just delivers on great action, a cool ghost story, an entertaining cast of characters, and 3 sequels. What you might have missed though is Will Turner's arc. While at first he denies that he has pirate blood, choosing to be a blacksmith, he over the course of his adventure comes to terms with his pirate ancestry. Similarly, Elizabeth Swann's father comes to accept that his daughter loved William Turner, even though he is a blacksmith, and a pirate. Accepting a heritage you're not proud of is something that you have to do. If you don't, it can eat away at you. But Will accepts it's not something he can control, and he'd rather commit a crime and do the right thing than let a man who saved his life die. Lilo and Stitch, Pudge. While this isn't so much a theme like the others on the list, this is a sad little detail you may not have noticed. Lilo and Stitch is probably the saddest and most touching of all the Disney films. It's about a little girl who lost her family, and an alien who never had a family coming together. What you may have missed though is Lilo's obsession with making sure Pudge the fish gets a peanut butter sandwich. The reason she gives? Pudge controls the weather. This seems like just an example of Lilo's kookiness at first until you realize that Lilo's family died in a car crash caused by a storm. So, every week she gives Pudge the fish a peanut butter sandwich out of the childlike belief that this fish controls the weather and is in some way responsible for the deaths of her parents. The Little Mermaid, making sacrifices for love. This isn't so much a hidden theme, but the Little Mermaid had a tough time. Not only does she give up her voice in an attempt to find love, but even once she regains it, decides to give up her tail and the ability to live underwater. A lot of people are critical of this aspect of the movie, as they feel it teaches girls they should give up everything for a guy. But we're not sure that's true. Ultimately in life, we all have to make sacrifices for the people we love, and to say that this is a bad message to give children is pretty cynical. Ariel doesn't change who she is, and the prince never asked her to. The Lion King, Accepting Responsibility. It's a little weird that the most iconic song of The Lion King is the antithesis of everything the movie is about. While The Lion King has more than a few plot holes, it's still a beloved film that is ultimately about accepting your heritage and responsibility. While Simba would rather live out in the jungle minding his own business, it's up to him to overthrow Scar and take his place as the king of Pride Rock. We all know that the plot of the movie is based loosely on Shakespeare's Hamlet, but Simba is driven less out of revenge and more out of his sense of duty to his family. The Lion King never presents revenge as a positive thing and keeps the feud between Simba and Scar about what he has done to the Pride Lands, rather than the murder of Simba's father. That's all we have time for today. Did we miss anything? Leave us a comment and let us know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and check out the rest of our channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CBR for cool vids about movies, action heroes, gaming, comics, and more.